Hello, everybody, and happy Huddle Time. It is Monday, and we are at the end of April, almost at the end of April, and I can't believe it. So, how are you guys all doing? Welcome to Huddle Time with Ronit. I'm super excited to be here tonight. I haven't been live on Huddle Time for 2 weeks, and I'm here every Monday. And every Monday we bring some great guests. We talk a lot about transitions, good business, experts in our industry that can help us grow and do so much more for our successes, and just have a great conversation about how to be wealthier, healthier, happier, and what can we do to change and transform. So happy Huddle Time with Ronit. And today we have a really good guest. We have a really good friend of mine that is going to join. We're going to talk. She's a game changer. We started a whole new series for Huddle Time, and we decided we're going to call it Game Changers. Things that people do that really change games in their life, that can impact others' people's life, and bring and uplift successes in every aspect of your life. So today we're starting the very first show, the very first series, the very first part of the series, which we call it Game Changers. And over the next few weeks, we're going to invite so many game changers that will help all of us transform and uplift our life. And maybe we can learn one or two or three or four great nuggets that help us do that. But I wanted to just congratulate everybody for doing an amazing job. It's almost summer, and we are moving away from pandemic. Regardless what everybody's opinion is, we are much better off than where we were a year ago. So that's the greatest news ever, don't you think? And for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Ronit Enos. I'm the host of Huddle Time with Ronit, and this is the show that comes every Monday with our partners, American's Beauty Show. So, with all of that, I would like to tell you a couple of things that are coming up. So, if as you know, I am the business coach and the Profit Jedi for Salon Cadence Accelerator, which is a white glove training company for salons and for hairstylists and for solopreneurs who wants to improve their wealth in the company, and it wants to improve their scalability and grow their company to the place where it actually works for you. We are a profit first agency, and what it means is that we are going to have an extraordinary live class about profit first salons. What does it take to implement the profit first methodology? And for those of you who don't know anything about the profit first, it'll be a great time for you to learn about it. How can you take 4 weeks off from your company, and how can your company really delivers what needs to happen so you can actually do it? So you can sit someplace and enjoy what you're doing. Maybe you want to take a week and work really closely on your business. Maybe you want to take a week and redesign something in your business. Maybe you want to take a week and just enjoy your family, your children, or just your partner. How can you do that without worrying? How can you get your company to work like a very oiled machine that allows you to do that? So come join us on our webinar. We'll give all the details of it right here in the body of Facebook. Now, for everybody here, American's Beauty Show is going to have their live show coming up in September, the weekend of the 11th. And we invite everybody to go to your website and buy your memberships. That includes your amazing ticket. Now, in that ticket and in that membership, you get so much education, and you get everything like social media tips, social media classes, to financial classes, to business classes, and obviously to anything and everything you wanted to know about art, the art of beauty. So please join us and sign up for your membership so you can come to our American's Beauty Show. Now, tonight, we are having a very special guest, a very good friend of mine. Her name is Nicole Peterkin. Nicole Peterkin is a game changer, and you're going to soon hear and learn why. Nicole has been practicing financial literacy, financial advising. She's a fiduciary, which means that she doesn't work for any financial institute. She consults, and she's giving you her expert opinion for what it is. She's the author of the book, If You Love Your Family, Save It Like It. She has been a guest in the Beauty Brunch show that we had earlier last year, last year. And she is a major money management for the modern America. Different ways to learn how to multiply your income. As you know, we all get great income, but sometimes it's not the income that is going to make us wealthier. So she's going to share a lot of great nuggets with us. And there's a lot of great things that I want to share with you with Nicole. So I want to introduce you to my friend, Nicole Peterkin. Hello, Nicole. How are you? I think you're on mute.
Hello. Hi. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's so good to see you. You look so beautiful, Nicole.
Thank you.
Now you just got back from San Diego, and you live in Boston, which obviously that's where you and I have started our relationship.
Yep.
You live in Boston, and then 3 years ago, you and Bobby decided that you want to test out living in San Diego part of the year. So now, how did that come about? What?
Bobby was teaching full time and he only got summers off. And since I'm self-employed, I was like, okay, one of the best parts of being self-employed is that you should have freedom and flexibility, right? Like that's what we all want, is for our business to support our ideal life. So my ideal life was when my husband, or then he was my boyfriend, but when my husband is off, I want to be able to be off too for the whole summer and take real vacation. Like when he's on vacation for the summer, he's not teaching, he's not checking email. I wanted to do the same thing. So I started like changing things in my business to try to see, can I take a month off at a time over the summer? Can I take 2 months of time off over the summer? And can we live in California where we really like the lifestyle? So we tried it for a couple summers, drove cross country with our dogs. Then we'd always have to come back. And Bobby actually got laid off because of COVID. And we decided, okay, perfect opportunity. You know, my business is doing really well. You can just retire, don't go get another job. So let's spend the winter in California now. So that's what we did. So instead of taking real vacation in California this winter, I worked remotely and still serviced clients from San Diego. But it was amazing. And it was really so awesome to be gone for 3 months and just escaping the Boston winter. So that's how it happened.
No, we did it for the first year. For the first year ever in the whole 33 years that I've been here, Bill and I decided we have to get away from the winters. And like you, for our whole entire working life, we had our children and we owned 2 salons and we had always had a brick and mortar business. And one day we decided, you know what? Really, what we really want to get to the point is when we can spend really good time together and travel cross country. And so how can we leverage our experts and our gifts in life? And this is what we always wanted to do, is like take what our knowledge and our gifts, and how can we leverage it and create a career for us that allows us to be together and spend time together and enjoy, warm weather. So this is the first year we did the same thing, but we were right here in Florida, the other side, and we've been here for 4 months, and it's been amazing not to live in the winter. Amazing, game changer, right? So it's like it's incredible. So Nicole and I, we've known each other for, I would say, for about good 20 years. Is it 20 years? No, it's not 20 years, because you've been in practice for 10 years on financials. So it's has
probably been 10-ish years. I think maybe we met before. No, I don't think we met before I started my practice. Maybe it's probably like 9 or 10 years. Yeah.
Well, actually, you were working for a company, so you didn't start your practice, because you started your practice. Yeah, you started a practice. Maybe is it 10 years? But you worked for a different financial company.
So I was always, how the financial industry can be is that you can either be an employee for a company, or you can kind of like a realtor, how you can work for Keller Williams but you're self-employed. You don't have any salary benefits, anything. It's just like commission only. That's how I was the first like 2 or 3 years of my career. I was affiliated with different companies, but I was 1099. I had my own clients, all of that kind of thing. And then I started financial planning in 2011, affiliated with other companies. And then I went independent, formed Peterkin Financial in 2014, I think.
Yeah.
So
we've known each other, I think, since 2000 and maybe 12.
Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe even 2010, because no, I think that a year after we opened our second location. So that must have been 2008, 2009.
Really? Actually, that might make sense. I mean, I don't feel like we talked business when I was in your
For a
chair.
while. Yeah. Yeah. So tell us all, because you've been practicing financials for a long time, but for a long time that's what you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And and you decided, you authored the book, your financial book. There was a story behind it. And why did you decide that, and when did you decide that that's where you wanted to turn your career to?
So I decided that I wanted to do financial planning as a career when my dad died. So my dad passed away when I was 20 years old, 21 years old. I was pre-med at BU, wanted to be a doctor, didn't think anything of financial planning, but my dad, was kind of like the person who handled all of the money. And I just saw after he passed away, my mom had no idea what was going on with the finances. So it was one of those things where it's delegation of responsibilities. My mom did a lot of like the household stuff. My dad handled the money, even though they both had incomes. And when my dad passed away, my mom kind of came to me and was like, I don't even know if we can pay the mortgage. I make 150K. Your dad made much more than me. We were making good money. We were saving. We have investments, but like, I have no idea what any of this is. So I just remember thinking like, this is crazy that my mom can be so smart, so professionally successful, and really not have any idea what's going on with the finances when she's contributing six figures to the household. And then actually looking through the financials, helping her dig through, I realized that my parents worked really hard. They made a lot of money, but they just were missing some pieces. They weren't optimized. And I was like, they have 4 kids. We live in a nice neighborhood, have 3 cars in the garage, a driveway, all of that stuff. But they still were always stressed out about money, can't afford this, didn't feel like they could afford help. Anyone they did work with were just people who had kind of sold them something at different times. And I was like, this is just like, if my parents could have figured out how to optimize their finances, I felt like that could have been less stress, like better quality time enjoyed together. My dad wouldn't have maybe been like always trying to get like the next promotion, the next career thing, the next, I'm going to take this position traveling because it makes us more money. Like if he could use his money better, I thought he might have made different financial decisions. So I made the transition to financial, but then being affiliated with companies earlier on, I realized that there were so many conflicts of interest, people wanting you to sell certain products. There wasn't transparency about what the client was paying, what the client was getting. People were saying that they were fiduciaries acting like they were saying that they were acting in the client's best interest when they really weren't. And so there was a lot of like mess in the financial industry, and that made me wanting to help people like my parents who were like hard workers, high earners, who really just wanted to like spend time with their families and do the things that they loved and live the lives that they loved, is something that I wanted to be able to help people with. I wanted the freedom to have that myself. So I wanted to have a small business. And then I ended up ultimately going independent and writing my book because I was so frustrated with all the mess in the financial industry. And I knew there had to be a better way, but there weren't many people doing it. So I feel like If You Love Your Family, Save Like It was me kind of like shining the light on wait a minute, like, why are there all these people just walking around selling shit? And like, why is no one helping people? There has to be something else, right? Like,
well, everybody wants a piece of the pie. Everybody wants a piece of pie. Everybody has something to sell. And I'm good. So I want everybody to know that there's a huge difference between being a financial advisor to a fiduciary. And let's explain to our audience what's the big difference and how should they pick up the right financial consultant or the right financial coach, because you coach and you consult, and there's a big difference between a fiduciary and a consultant and a financial advisor. So what's the difference?
Okay, so this is like the part that you need to understand is that it has nothing to do with the title. So like, I'm a certified financial planner. When you Google like, how do I pick a financial advisor? How do I pick a financial planner? It will say like, get a certified financial planner, which is a CFP. But somebody can be a CFP and not be a fiduciary. Somebody can say that they're a financial advisor, planner, consult, like, the title, you can call yourself anything you want in this industry, but it doesn't mean that you're a fiduciary. So it's really fuzzy. You need to ask, but some advisors actually are confused about whether or not they're a fiduciary. So some advisors will say, I'm a fiduciary. Of course, I would do what's in the best interest of my clients. And they think they're a fiduciary because they hear that financial advisors should be fiduciaries, but they legally don't have any obligation to you. So the reason is that you can be, if a financial planner, if you're paying a financial planner a fee for advice, so you're writing a check for a financial plan, or you're writing a check to like do advice ongoing, or you're paying them 1% of your investments, and it says in there that you're doing a fee for service, then they have a fiduciary obligation to recommend what's in your best interest. There should be a contract, and as part of the contract of you exchanging that money or of you offering to give them 1% of your investments, there should be something in there about conflict of interest clause, how they're not obligated to sell any products. It should say like what capacity they're working with you in. And an advisor who But an advisor who does fee for service and then sells you a life insurance policy, or and then sells you like a mutual fund, or and then sells you any kind of other product, they are a fiduciary in creating your financial plan, but then they don't have to be a fiduciary in selling you the product. So as soon as they start talking to you about you should buy this life insurance policy, it's $1 million, it's with this company or that company, now they are an agent of that life insurance company. So when they told you that you needed life insurance on your plan, if you paid them for a plan or paid them for planning or consulting, then they had their fiduciary hat on and they had to recommend that life insurance is in your best interest. But then once you say, okay, I want life insurance and I want to buy it from you, then when they're recommending what plan to get with what company, they can take their fiduciary hat off. It's the same person, but they don't have to be a fiduciary. They are not a fiduciary anymore because now they're representing that insurance
company. Yeah.
So that's really confusing, right? Because it's funny. It's like, well, yeah, of course I'm a fiduciary. And it's like, are you always a fiduciary? Are you always held to a fiduciary standard? And the truth of the matter is that whenever somebody is selling you a product that they're making a commission off of, they are not held to a fiduciary standard. They're held to a suitability standard. You guys can Google suitability standard. And it just means that if you later said, this person sold me a $10,000 life insurance policy, I didn't know that they made $9,000 of a commission. I didn't know that this actually wasn't the best possible product out there for me, and I want to go sue that advisor, then you would not win, because the advisor would just have to prove, or the advisor would have to be able to prove that they thought that that product was a good product for you. So if it's not blatantly a bad product for you, the advisor did nothing wrong. It doesn't have to be the best product. It just has to be okay enough for you, which is so just, I have so many words, but that's how it works. So it's very confusing. It's
Crock of
very
shit. It's
confusing.
like you could say it's a crock of shit because here's the thing. The thing is like, if you're a hairstylist and an expert in your field, and a clients come to you and sits down in your chair, and you're going to ask the client, "Oh, so Nicole, what do you want me to do for you today?" Well, wait a second. Are you the expert or are you the expert? Like, where is the problem here? Right there's a problem. Now, if you're going to say, and that's another thing, it's like if you're going to say, okay, I really think that you should do this, you should do that, this is, in my opinion, will be the best thing for you to look at. And that's great. But the minute we start saying, I really want you to buy this product, okay, like I love this product. I think it's going to do great for you because you have the products on your shelf. Then there is a little bit of maybe a trust here, because today I think in the eye of the consumer is so educated and they can make their own choice of what they want to buy. But if you're a hairdresser and you're an expert in what you're doing, and you tell them, I chose this plan because I believe that this product is the best product for you, then you buy it from me. Now, how is that correlate to exactly a financial advisor versus a fiduciary?
Yeah. So an example is that a fiduciary, if the salon, the hairstylist or whoever is consulting the client says, you know what, Nikki, looking at your hair, we only have Orbe products here. I'm just saying Orbe because I use that. I'm not trying to talk trash about
Yeah.
Orbe.
Yeah.
We only have Orbe products here, but actually what you really need is this Davines product that we don't have. So what I think you really need, I'm using, I used this, and this on you because this is what was best for you. I treated your hair like that. And what you really need is this Davines deep conditioner or blah, 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 blah. We don't have it here, but you can go there. You can go to the salon across the street. They carry Davines, even though we don't. And by the way, they run promos, once every month. So don't go this week, go next week, because then you'll save $50 off of your thing. That's what a fiduciary would do, because they would say, okay, I'm going to recommend what I would want, what I would do for myself, what I would recommend to my mom, my best friend, my sister. I would say like, yeah, all we have is this kind of mutual fund. That's all I can sell. And yeah, I make a commission on this fund, but I'm not going to sell my mom a fund that's not the best fund when she can go online and go to Vanguard or go to the financial advisor across the street. I might lose out my $50 or my $20 of commission or whatever, but I want my client to have the same experience that I would want, and I would want to buy the absolute best thing, not the best thing that someone else can sell me. And so the whole thing is that if I'm sitting in your chair and all you have is Orbe, and Orbe is not really the best thing for me, so you're like, oh, we only have these 3 Orbe products, but I need to sell retail because that's part of my bonus this quarter in my salon or whatever. So let me try, even though they don't really need this shampoo, it's basically the same as what they're already using. I'm going to recommend this Orbe shampoo because it's not that bad for them. It's probably fine for their hair, even though it's double the price as what they're using. It's not going to give them that much more benefit. It's not really going to hurt them either. And I'm going to make my commission and I'm going to look good.
Right.
So I'm going to recommend it. That is not a fiduciary.
Got it. So in order to kind of like bring that back to home, is that it really is best if you get advices and consulting for somebody who really understands financial, I guess, what will you call it, financial knowledge, and advise you with what will be the best product for you customizing. And it's better than to belong to like a specific company that you only limited to sell a certain product.
Yeah, I mean, so part of it is that it's like it's rough because when I was affiliated with different companies, there was a point where the last company that I was affiliated with before I went off independent, I could sell products while I was there, but I didn't. So all I did was charge people fees for advice. I was completely objective. If I was making a recommendation to them, I made sure that like, hey, go here instead. Like I was like, I'm just not going to do any commission-based stuff, because even though I know I'm recommending what's in their best interest, and I know that if I don't have what's in their best interest, I'm sending them down the street. I don't want the illusion of conflict of interest. I felt like I was so triggered by coming from that space, and there were a lot of people in that office who would tell their clients, oh, I do financial planning, I do mostly consulting. But behind the scenes, when you're in an office like that, you can see how people get paid for what. So you can see like, you know, this guy says that he does all comprehensive planning and consulting, but he's always the number one guy in the office for selling life insurance, or he's always the number one guy in the office for selling an annuity or for selling a mutual fund. It's like, how come you're never the number one guy for selling financial planning? Like that's a category. And so I would just not recommend anything. So there are people, or I would just not recommend any products that I can make a commission off of, period. But there are people who work for firms, who work for your Edward Jones, Ameriprise, whatever, you know what I mean? They work for companies, and they are fiduciaries, or they are acting in a fiduciary capacity, but you don't know that. Like it's really hard for a consumer to know that. You have to assume that if an advisor is working for an insurance company or an investment firm, that they're getting some pressure from inside the firm to sell different things, to sell what the firm has. Otherwise, why are they there? So that's the whole. And some advisors don't want to be there. They started their practice there, and they just feel like it's too difficult to leave, or they feel like they'd have to explain all this stuff to their clients, like, why are you leaving this company, or why are you leaving that company, or it's really expensive for startup costs. And that's why they don't leave. But it's really difficult for the client to really be able to see, because again, they can just take their hat off.
Yeah, and I think this was for me. When we introduced to each other, Nicole, we were already working with a different financial firm who was working with our own company, offering our staff member financial benefits for working at our company at Maxime Salon. Now, when I met you and you explained to me the difference between, that was really magic to me, and I felt like, you know what, I much rather have individual, objective opinion. And so now you're consulting, obviously, to my teaching and training company for Salon Cadence. You're the experts, advisors in our company, and you work with all of our clients, which is incredible. And of course, we work with you. And what should any client, and this is something I want to finish that specificness about working with an advisor versus fiduciary. That would be my last question, and then we're going to move into how can you multiply your earnings. So anybody who just came into the conversation, we are talking about the difference between financial advisor to a fiduciary, how you guys can choose to work with somebody. It's very difficult and confusing. What decision you need to make, and then we're going to dive right into how to multiply your earnings, which is really important. So stay tuned, everybody. This is Nicole Peterkin, Nikki, my friend who's has been a fiduciary for 10 years, her own practice, author her own book, and her gift is teaching us how to make good financial decisions so we can have the freedom and security, not in 30 years, but just now. So let's talk about what do we have to expect when it comes to earnings for you. So if you're a consultant and a fiduciary, what's the investment that we need to budget a year for working with somebody like you, typically?
It completely varies. You can work with a fiduciary advisor who's just charging for consulting, and they might charge $200 an hour, or it depends where you live, right? Like you might be able to find somebody who's $150 an hour. Somebody might charge $300 or $400 an hour if you want an hourly rate. Depending on what you need, the like cheapest way to get in would be if you're just thinking like, oh, I need a second opinion. I'm not really sold. I don't want to outlay money for a whole plan. I just have a question about something. I need life insurance, or I need to open an investment account, but I don't want to go to somebody who's selling me that, because even though they might be a good person, I don't want a conflict of interest. So I'm going to charge somebody $200, or I'm going to pay somebody $200 or $400 to just consult me on that small area right now. That you can totally do. I don't do hourly. I used to bill hourly. I don't bill hourly anymore, but there are people.
Because it doesn't work, you know. I mean, maybe, because you want to have a really good program and longevity and results-based consulting.
But for some people, it's the right fit. If you know that you need something right now and that you're not going to invest for a plan, then it's better for you to pay something than to go to, your client who sells something and is just going to help you with a Band-Aid. Because what I've seen, I have a client right now who bought some insurance from this guy. It's $300 a month, and I just helped her shop it around, and the exact same policy is like $150 a month with a different company. So it's like, by you paying hourly to like have somebody help you,
it's worth it.
You can save a lot of money and you can really understand what you're getting. So that is something that you can do. The average financial plan ranges between $2,500 and $3,500 for like just a plan. If you're paying for a financial plan, then that means that an advisor is looking at all of your stuff. You need to make sure that you give them all of your financial documents and everything. They're looking at everything and they're saying, for your cash flow, here's what you need in emergency. Here's where it should be. Here's what it's doing. For your debt, here's a debt pay down strategy that works for you. Here's what debt you should refinance. Here's, investments. Here's what you need. Here's what you should do. Here's estate planning, taxes, insurance. They should be looking at everything and say, in order to meet your goals, you should do this, this, and this. This is when you can file for Social Security. This is how much you should be paying yourself, blah, blah, blah. They hand you the plan, and you should expect that if that's all you paid for was a plan, that person is not going to help you implement any of that stuff. So usually you pay between $2,500 and $3,500 to just get a printed out like booklet of like strategy.
Yeah.
And then you have to implement the strategy, but at least you have objective advice. If you paid somebody for that plan, they were acting in a fiduciary capacity for you, even if they can sell products and other stuff. You would hope that that person doesn't just give you a plan with buy this product, this product, and this product, which is what I have, which sometimes people do. But that should go like about refinancing your mortgage, looking at your car payment. It should really have everything. And so that's what you're paying for. Some places, I have a friend who does a different planning model than me, and she'll charge $2,500 for a plan, and then she'll charge 1% of your investments ongoing, and she'll only work with somebody if they will move all of their investments over to her. So she'll help them implement everything in their plan if she's making money off of their investment. So that's typical, is if you're not paying somebody directly for a plan, then you're paying as a percentage of your investments. And typically you'll see that advisors want you to have $250,000 or more to invest, because that means that they're making at least $2,500 a year off of you every single year. So like they have to get paid somehow, right? Just like you have to get paid in your salon. An advisor who has expertise about tax, cash flow, investments, etc., needs to get paid for their expertise. And if you're not paying them directly through your investments or through writing you a check or on your credit card, then there's products in there somewhere. So that's just what you need to be wary of. My fees start at $5,000 for the year and go up. So it just depends, right? And it depends on how comprehensive.
And and I feel like that's part of the advice is based on the complexity of the portfolio of what would be that. But thank you for sharing with us. This is really great information. Mm-hmm. Now I wanna go back into a little bit about Nikki. So you've been doing this for 10 years. but you've always designed, one of the things that you and I always work with is how can we create a plan, and how can we, for even for ourselves, and how can we create a plan that allows salon owners and hairstylists to leverage the most, so they can optimize everything that they're making and multiply it and triple it. What can they do today in order to achieve their goals that they want? So for my husband and I, our goals were that be able to live the life that we want to live. So we would love traveling. We want to be together. Our goal was that we created a company that both of us are 100% working together in the company. And you saw us through this whole time, Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
You planned us this whole opportunity to get to where we want to be. And what I want to offer to everybody here is that our income alone, whether when Bill was in corporate America and I was running a salon, or when we were running 2 salons, did not allow us alone, just based on the income, and we were doing very well, to allow us to get to that point. We needed to do more than that in order to afford the future of what we really wanted to be in. So what does it take for people to know about what are the action that they need to do, or the understanding and the knowledge that working in your company or creating a company is not enough to plan a retirement or to live the life that you want? What can we do as in our industry right now to change that, to create the game change for us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we all understand the concept of diversification, right? Of not having all of your eggs in one basket. So if your only source of income or your only source of revenue or assets is your business, then if something goes wrong with your business, a pandemic, your employees all leave you, something happens, the dynamics of the environment change, then you're stuck. So you want to have multiple income streams. And I think the thing that I tend to drive home to clients is that investments are an income stream, right? So a lot of advisors talk about investments too much, in the sense that they're always like saying, okay, you should invest money, you should invest money, you should invest money. And they're not really consulting on your debt, your real estate, your tax situation. Like, there are the things that help you free up more money to invest. They're not really helping you with. They're just saying, okay, give me the money that you want, that you already have invested, and I can do better for you, or scrape together some money and I'll invest it. But like, it's up to you. So I think that the key is that, one, you need to be investing in the stock market regularly and in the right types of accounts. So that could be retirement accounts, that could be non-retirement accounts. It depends on your situation, but you can use retirement accounts. Both retirement accounts and non-retirement accounts can be used together for tax diversification, which is really, really important, because having tax diversification with your investments means that you get to keep more of the money that you're earning and growing. But I think also a focus on freeing up cash flow, like a focus on freeing up cash flow in your business and in your personal life so that you have more to invest, is key. So what I've noticed a lot with salon owners, and it's not only salon owners, a lot of small businesses are like this, but because you've built your wealth and like your cash flow, your income stream, by working in a salon, and then by leveraging your hairstylist working in the salon, you are attracted to running other businesses. So you're running your business, you want to get out from behind the chair, and then you have, you're making money in your salon, you have extra money, you're like, what should I invest this in? Oh, let me buy a property. Oh, let me invest in another business. Oh, let me open another salon. Oh, it's always some kind of business. And so what I will say is, there's nothing wrong with opening other businesses, but having a rental property, I own a rental property, having a rental property is another business. You have another profit and loss, right? You have income, you have expenses, you have, in some cases, payroll, you have maintenance, you have all of this stuff, and you have risk. So just like you have risk in your salon due to COVID, right? You have risk in the rental market because due to COVID too, right? Like tenants not having to pay, eviction moratorium stuff, interest rates going crazy, your mortgage balloons and your income or your cash flow isn't where it needs to be, so you can't refinance it. So there are like risks associated with every kind of business, and investing in real estate can be really, really risky. So what I'm saying is that what I tend to tell my clients is try to make as much money as you can and keep as much of the money that you're earning as you can to be able to invest it and start building up your second income stream. Your second income stream is an investment portfolio, whether it's in a retirement or not in retirement. That doesn't matter so much for the purposes of this conversation. But when you know that if you can build up $100,000 invested, $100,000 invested could theoretically give you $5,000 a year for the rest of your life without the 100,000 ever going away if it's invested properly and the withdrawals are made properly. That's really powerful, right? That's $5,000 a year that you can get tax-free or get really tax preference, like at a lower tax rate than your earned income rate. So you get some tax diversification there. And that's money that you never have to answer an employee's phone call or text. You never have to answer a tenant's phone call or text. You never have any maintenance. The market kind of does what it does. And does the market crash and have volatility during COVID too? Yeah. But we have more predictability and we have more diversification if we're invested properly. So what I tend to drive home is if you are trying to figure out how to invest $1,000 a year, $1,000 is not going to do much realistically, right? $1,000 isn't going to change your life. Even if you can get a 100% return, you only have $2,000. So you need to be willing and able to invest a meaningful amount so that you can build up your investment portfolio systematically over time so that at some point you're drawing $50,000 a year off your million if you decide to keep growing or letting it grow, and your money's actually working harder for you. And instead of every single dollar you earn, you paying, 50 cents in OPEX, in expenses, and then taxes, and you getting to keep 50, 40, 30 cents of every dollar that you're earning. Now your investments are working harder for you, and maybe you pay 10% in taxes and there's no expenses, or maybe tax-free.
Yeah, which is obviously so much return on your time. You get a lot more return on your time. Now, right. our clients at Salon Cadence Accelerated, they use the profit first accumulation system, the cash flow system, and they get so turned on when they see the incremental income that happens from 1 month to a month, COVID or no COVID or whatever challenges that you get. It's amazing. I had a call today with one of our clients, and she said, "Ronit, what can I say? Every time I think I don't have money, I'm turning to the right, and there's money sitting in my profit account because it's incremental business and it's incremental, movement." And that's exactly what investment is all about. So how soon and what amount should we start? Like if in your 30s, or like even you were talking to Will, now you're advising Will. Will is in his late 20s. And how early should we teach our own children? How early should we start investing in working with fiduciary, or even what we need to do to just start the game?
As early as possible. I mean, so I'm pregnant with my first child now, and me and my husband are talking about like how soon are we going to put him on payroll? Like, I own a business. My husband's doing a startup now that he's not teaching anymore, and one of like the thing is that people always say like, oh, it takes money to make money. The wealthy just get wealthier, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, part of it is strategy, right? Like everyone who's wealthy doesn't just like get money handed to them. It's like sometimes it's just discipline and doing the right thing and doing the right thing and doing the right thing and asking the right questions and paying for advice and that kind of thing. And one of the things that I learned from not my current accountant, but an accountant that I used before that, is that you can pay a child up to, I think it's like $12,000 or $12,500 now, without them having to file a tax return. So it's like, if I'm a parent and I'm self-employed, I'm paying self-employment taxes, I have all these expenses, and then I'm in, the 32% tax bracket, and I'm earning money and giving it to my kids anyway, and my kids are at the salon on the weekend or whatever. I don't know what your situation is, but like my kids are at the office, at my office on the weekend, like helping with filing or whatever, or I can give them some stuff to do. They can press a button, they can schedule some stuff. Like, I can pay them $12,000 a year without me saving my 30% of taxes, them not paying a penny of income taxes on that. We can put half of that money into a retirement account for them. So if we're putting $6,000 a year into retirement for our child for 10 years or 20 years, it could be $1 million by the time that they're 60. My parents didn't do that for me. They didn't know that they could have. But when I think about, okay, if I have to earn 12,000 in my business to pay the 12,000, because I literally am earning the 12,000 and then it's going out in payroll, it's a full tax deduction, and then and my kid doesn't have to pay another penny of taxes on it. We can invest it and multiply it so that it's growing and just passively invested. Why wouldn't we do that, right? And so you have to have the cash flow to be able to do that. But when you're talking about like having a system like Profit First that allows you to just keep accumulating profit, you're saying every single quarter or every single time revenue comes into my business, twice a month, 3% of that or 5% of that or 10% of that is going into an account and it's just sitting there. Like, take that profit and invest it and pretend that it doesn't exist. And then now it's multiplying. The market's growing it too. It's not just, I worked really hard, my business made money, a percentage of it went to profit, and now it's making 0.01%, or now it's making like 0.85% in my high interest savings account because 0.85 is high interest now. Like, no, grow that money. You're working hard for it. So I think
let the money work for you. Let the money work. So if you guys are chiming in right now, there's a few people coming in right now. We are talking about what does it take to take your money and reinvest it so it works for you passively and not not through work. And how can you do it is you can budget and you can use the Profit First methodology. So for anybody who's right here, we are launching a Profit First live class in the end of May. Please check in. It's going to be, as a matter of fact, Miranda, you're listening to me. Just put it in the chat right now. When is our webinar going in? And everybody that is listening to it, please come and join us. We're going to teach you what does it take to actually not worry and not think about investing your money in the right, just allocating it the right money. Now, Nicole, working with you, there's two ways of doing it. There's either, working with you in a one-on-one and getting advice on one-on-one. And then you just, I think you just launched your program in the end of last year. Mm-hmm. And that's Find Your 10K strategy of how you can actually find your 10K now. Tell us about this program. How can we find it? What can we do it?
Okay, yeah. So two different things. So I have a strategy guide that I created because I see so many small businesses that have hidden money, right? They have hidden money in their business. This isn't a do Profit First thing. Profit First is very, very important. I love Profit First, but this is more like looking at your profit and loss. How do you find extra cash in your business? If you're saying, I don't have the money to invest, how do you find it? So I created a free strategy guide. It's at find10k.biz. I think Miranda's going to put it in the chat. But if you want to download that guide, it's literally like a 25-page guide, and it's what my clients pay me thousands of dollars to teach them. You can have that guide for free, and it really, really, really is like the best stuff. My program is called Next Level Profits. And in the program, we talk a little bit about Profit First, but it's not really about teaching Profit First. That's really Ronit's wheelhouse, or you can read the book. Next Level Profits is about how do small businesses take more home on the revenue that they're already making. So whatever you're making right now, it's not the next, person that you hire, the next band of clients, the next price increases. Like if what you're doing right now isn't working after you've been growing your business for the last 5 years or 10 years or however long you've been in practice, you making more money is not going to work. Like we just need to agree that making more money if you don't have the fundamental habits in place is not going to work. So what the next level profits program is about exactly how I found more money in my business to be able to retire my husband. And it's teaching the exact like templates, strategies that I use. It's using proper tax planning. It's planning out for your investments, figuring out which investments to do. It's talking about strategies like the kids on payroll kind of thing that I just touched on. And you can find more information about that program at getnextlevelprofits.com.
I love it. I love it. And for anybody who just really wants to start and wants to get going on all of that, that's a great way to read and understand exactly what is that they need to do to make a change in their life right now. And Nicole, you are a game changer. You absolutely helped my husband and myself create exactly what we wanted to do. And, we can even do better. We can do better. We make choices, and sometimes we can even make better choices. And that's where you're there for. And you have a really good prospect on all of that. You have a good vision on all of that. And I think that we all need an honest opinion guide to take us to help us get to where we want to be. So, if there's any one nugget that out of the amazing information that you gave everybody, what is the number one thing you can offer for anybody who has not moved their asses to register to any of those courses yet and and start their wealth right now? What would you offer?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't download the strategy guide, I don't know what to tell you, because that really is just like free advice and information. But what I would say is just keep it simple. Like the number one pitfall that I've seen over the last 10 years is just people want this next sexy thing. Like everyone wants to talk about Dogecoin or Bitcoin or whatever Wall Street Bets is talking about. And should I buy GameStop or Nokia or whatever? And it's like, it's all about the fundamentals. It's always the simplest stuff that is the most effective done over time. And one of our mutual clients, Ronit and I's mutual clients, during one of our consult calls, I don't remember if it was her or her husband that said it, but I think her husband like has a friend that always says shavings make piles. Has she told you that?
Lena?
Yeah. And I'm like, that is so true, right? It's like, it's just like everyone's had a car payment, right? Like even if you've never invested money before, like everyone's had like a car payment or a mortgage or some kind of debt that they've paid off. And if you think about it, you have some kind of bill and you're like, oh, I can't afford this $20,000 or $30,000 or $50,000, whatever it's financed at. And you just make your stupid payment every single month. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I paid off. How did I pay that off? Right? Like you look at like the people who, actually pay their mortgage for 30 years or for 15 years. And they're like, I own my house. Like, I wish I didn't, and then you have people who are like, I wish I didn't refinance like 10 times, It's the stupidest simple things. It's like a mortgage, it's like $300,000 or $500,000. But if you just pay your $1,000 a month or your $2,000 a month, it paid off that $300,000 plus all that interest. Investing works the exact same way, opposite. Savings works the exact same way, opposite. You're paying yourself. So it's the basic, don't get complicated. Don't try to be too sexy. Don't try to get sexy until you've done the fundamentals, until you have 100 grand sitting in the bank or in your investment account or 250 grand or 500 grand. Like you don't need to get crazy. You just need to find the money and just
be consistent.
Just chip away and perfect the system. Yeah, it's not complicated.
Well, it just takes a little bit of knowledge, guide, and consistency and little shavings. And we can all do it. We can all get better and we can all do better and we can all save it like it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Yep. Now, a lot of you don't know, but Nicole and I have been cycling for years. We've been working out for years together. We've traveled together. We've learned together. We've been educated, and I'll have to say, Nikki lives the life that she wants, and she practices what she preach. And to me, that's a testimony right there. Nikki, thank you so much for spending your time and sending everybody so much information and telling everybody, a true opinion and honesty, because otherwise you're not a game changer. And for anybody, and anybody, when we come to Huddle Time with Ronit, it's all out there. It's all truth. It's all what it is. There's no bullshit. There's no fluff. And that's what we're here for you guys. So I can't wait to see you next time. And today, Huddle Time was for you to learn about financials, to learn about what you can do, how you can change your life, and how you can uplift it with Nicole Morong. So thank you, Nicole.
Thank you. This was fun. It's always fun.
Don't hang up. Stay in. I'm just going to end the broadcast.
Okay.